about earthquake that occurred in Cianjur, West Java, in Indonesia. Indonesia authorities are sending more rescue workers and heavy equipment to help the area worst hit by the deadly quake. The National Disaster Mitigation Agency said about 100 people we are known to have died in West Java province, but local officials say the figure was higher than the epicenter. The magnitude earthquake occurred on the island of Java, not far from the capital city of Jakarta, and in one of the worst affected areas in Cianjur, a densely populated part of the island. Our correspondent is Putri.
As the shaking subsided, shocked residents stood out on the streets of Cianjur to take in the damage done to their homes. It was extensive. By Indonesian standards, this was not an especially powerful earthquake, but it was shallow, close to the Earth's surface, enough to cause hundreds of buildings to collapse as it struck in the afternoon.
When it happened, I was sleeping, but all of a sudden my bed shook and I ran outside. Houses had collapsed.
As officials tried to coordinate rescue efforts for areas which are still cut off, the injured were brought to the area's main hospital by any means possible. Some carried, others in the back of trucks, and in constant chaotic stream of ambulances. With aftershocks still being felt, they were laid down on tarpaulins outside the hospital, with nurses treating them as best as they could.
All of our medical personnel, including those on days off and not on shift, have come on duty.
This hospital is absolutely overflowing with the people injured following the earthquake. Hundreds of people are spending the night being treated here in tents outside of the hospital building. There's a fear, too, of dangerous aftershocks. Some fear they have lost loved ones.
My two children were playing in the house and I was upstairs getting laundry. I fell on top of this child, but the other one is still missing. My house is flattened to the ground. Two of my children survived. I dug them out myself.
So now, a race to find survivors in shattered neighborhoods without power, without water. Earthquakes are not unusual here, but this one appears to have been more destructive than most, leaving so many villages isolated, so many lives lost, so many homes to rebuild. Putri, BBC News, Cianjur.
Okay, we can talk now to Jerome Moran from Indonesia service. We just gone at 2 p.m. What the latest news you heard?
As the authorities are focusing their efforts in search and evacuation of the victims and also distributing food and medicine, our president, Indonesian President Joko Widodo, has just arrived in Cianjur Regency to oversee the distribution of food and medicine. But our colleague on the ground reporting that so many people in the outskirts of in the villages, they are now haven't received those food and medicine. Yes, many villages are isolated, meaning that many routes and avenues to this location are blocked by landslides, which triggered by the earthquake, and it's making the efforts, the rescue efforts, is really hampering down.
And what is the biggest challenge do you think to try and get that food and medicine to those people?
So far, I haven't seen the international agencies coming to the Cianjur Regency, but perhaps today or tomorrow they will be coming.
I understand. They did talk about potential aftershock, Jerome. Has there been any report or death?
Yes, our colleague, such as Valdia on the ground, reports that dozens of aftershocks have been felt since morning, even. So it's making life difficult for the victims.
Yes, and you're speaking to us from Jakarta. What has the reaction been in the city?
The reaction is really, people were shocked because 5.6 to us, to Indonesians, is not so big. We felt so prior to this, and 6 in magnitude. But the factors that make this disaster so so big is because the houses there in Cianjur Regency are poorly built. The area known prone with landslides and densely populated. And according to earthquake experts, there's an active fault line underground. And the last is Cianjur Regency has this surface that is made of soft soil. The soil composition can amplify shocks during earthquakes, which explains why this particular earthquake can be disastrous.
Yeah, and of course, what people are experiencing right now. Joro, thank you so much for speaking to us from Jakarta.
Thank you.
And that was the news for this morning. Follow the next update in 10 news 1 hour ahead. I am Rizkiyansyah. Good morning and see you.